There is a Swedish-Brazilian featherweight that is currently on a 13-fight win streak dating back 9 years to 2015, where he fought all across Europe, capturing titles in multiple different organizations, including Octagon, which might be considered the premier competition in that region. And even the UFC hasn't proven to be too much yet, having won his debut against a fighter on a 3-fight UFC win streak, successfully staking a claim as a fringe top 15 fighter. I'm of course talking about Jungle Boy Felipe Lima. Today we'll take a look at his highlights from the start of his career to where we are now. Felipe Lima debuted to MMA just over 9 years ago in early 2015. On the regional Brazilian scene, he was actually unsuccessful in his debut, but like most of the best athletes in the UFC, the redemption would far exceed his first fight. He bounced back with 6 straight wins in Brazil. Before getting a title shot for Amazon Talent, his opponent would retire in the 3rd round and Lima would be declared champion, notching his first regional title as a bantamweight. Lima would then take his talent to Europe, where good competition was clearly more readily available. His opponents in 7 contests in Brazil were a combined 7-10, whereas his first 2 fights in Europe, they would be contested against opponents with a combined record of 14-1-1 at the time of the contest. But Lima would go back-to-back, taking the O of undefeated Gustavo Oliveira and Mr. Cage 39, before following that up with a victory in Brave Combat Federation against an 8-1 German. Europe also proved to have more media attention as well, and Lima would find his way to main eventing 2 contests on Fight Club Rush. FCR being fully streamed on UFC's Fight Pass, guaranteeing that someone at the UFC would be well aware of these Felipe Lima fights. He'd put on a pair of impressive wins, showcasing both his grappling and his unorthodox striking. He'd win a decision in his debut for the organization, and he would follow that up with a title opportunity where he would land not the flashiest of knockouts, but a beautiful flying knee to the body would force his opponent to tap in under 30 seconds. And that contest would prove to be one of the most important. Streamed live again on Fight Pass, an opponent with an impressive 21-7 record in the main event and for a bantamweight title. It wouldn't be long until the UFC would come calling. Upon winning the FCR Bantamweight title, however, he'd find a new training home at All Stars in Sweden, going under the tutelage of fighters such as Khamzat Chimaev. Lima has addressed in interviews that he is a completely different fighter now because of the intense training. Having won titles in 2 organizations, his last stop would be in Octagon to make it a trifecta. Taking on Jonas Maegard in the main event, Lima would again display his full bag of grappling and striking talent, taking home a 3rd title in yet another main event on a major regional organization. And it would be this 3rd title at Octagon that would get the UFC to bring him in on short notice. He'd take on Muhammad Naimov, who again was on a 3-fight undefeated streak and was looking like a world beater headed into the contest. Not to mention Felipe Lima coming in on short notice, but Lima would not slip up in the opportunity, submitting Naimov in the 3rd round and staking a claim to be maybe one of the top featherweights outside of the top 15. He's going to have to put together a resume inside the Ultimate Fighting Championship before we can really make that claim, but he is a seriously dominant prospect with the acclaimed background in the regional scene, paired with 9 years of experience. He is going to be a welcome addition to that top 15 when he gets there, and I have no doubt he will be there. But let me know your guys' thoughts on Felipe Lima. He competes this Saturday on UFC Fight Night, Covington versus Buckley. But that'll do it for today's video, guys. If you enjoyed, smash the like button, subscribe to Combat Sports Central, and I will see you in the next one.